Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where in this wonderful world you might be. Thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day once again. We are back. It's a new week. It's a blank canvas. Let's paint pictures. Let's tell stories. And the ledge is back in the house.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Hola, everyone. Welcome back to Highbury Squad Central. Joining me once again, my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Hello, squaddies. Good to see ya. At ease. Let's get into this because we've got stuff to take care of. At ease.
We sure do, Kev. Missed you guys. It's been a nice few days off, that's for sure. Hope you've all been well. To those of you listening on audio platforms, thanks so much for joining. Those who are tuning in on replay, thanks so much for tuning in as well. The usual suspects are in the house. Good evening, squaddies, to each and every one of you. And of course, once again, we'd like to thank our good friends at ZENITH for the show only and 90 minutes plus 3 added on after. You get 30% off. Go to ZENITH Coins and get your 30% off. Use Highbury Squad HS30 for your discount. You're not going to want to miss out on that. And just as I'm saying that, I'm going to put the link in the comments section right now so you guys can capitalize on that fabulous opportunity. Super Kev, guess what I got in the mail?
What did you get? Flash it. Go on. Flash it. Flash it. Oh, dice. Oh, the coin. Turn the coin. Let's have a read. Oh, that's a lovely bit of kit, that, isn't it? Look at that. Just saying, Soph. Just saying.
The kids were fighting over this on Twitter the other day. Desperation from some trying to get their nomination in. Super Kev. Keep those nominations coming. The Highbury Squad at gmail.com. The Highbury Squad at gmail.com. We're going to announce another winner at the end of this show while we have Super Kev. He's going to be handing them out like Santa Claus, Kev. That is right. Okay. Tammy, you haven't got yours yet. You will. Be patient. It's coming. You know, this is not Rodney Del Trotter. What's his name? Del Boy.
Yeah, Del Boy with the Rooney copper plate writing. Can you remember that one? Oh my God!
What a show that was, though, Kev. So
God.
good. So good. Brilliant. All right. Let's get stuck into some football talk, shall we? When we do talk football, we'll be talking about the Arsenal. And we will let you know at the end of the show a little bit about our schedule during this World Cup. Super Kevin Campbell. Top 5 talking points will start there this fine Monday evening. Adu promoted to sporting director. First time Arsenal have filled this role. Time out.
Can I just say, good friend of the show, it's his birthday today. Alan Smudger Smith. Happy birthday to Smudger.
Happy birthday to Smudger. Was definitely going to wish him. You know what, Kev? Should be at the top of the show. Correct. 100% correct.
Didn't want to leave it to the end because people might
think we've
forgotten.
Do it now. Yeah. Happy birthday to Smudger. Amazing. Ehis is watching from Poland. Big up Super Kev and sweet
Nice
Sophie.
one.
That's very nice.
Nice one.
We love Saka a lot. We all know that Casey will give Newman this one. Don't think so. Oh, dear God, you don't know him.
Oh, Arnie, are you sure?
I love it. Illuminati. It's beautiful. It's worth the fight, let me tell you. Highburysquad at gmail.com. Right, Super Kev Adu has been promoted.
Yes.
He has, I think, done a fabulous job since taking over the reins at the Arsenal and being an integral part of that hierarchy. His role is going to expand a little bit. Of course, he and Mertesacker, converse and talk about the academy situations, but now being sporting director, he's going to get his teeth stuck into a lot more of that and the development and the overall ethos, ecosystem of the club's footballing infrastructure. Kev, what is your take? Well-deserved promotion for Edu, and do you think he gets enough praise for what he's done at the Arsenal?
Very good move. I think the proof is always in the pudding, Sophie. He came under quite a bit of stick at times. You remember, what was it, a couple of seasons ago, where he was on a yacht and people were throwing their going crazy about what's he doing going on holiday. He's supposed to be getting the players in. Do you remember all that? But you could look at time, and time has proven, one, he knows what he's doing. Two, he gets the ethos of the club. And three, he's all in. He's all in on improving not just the first team squad. He's all in on proving the Arsenal as a football club. And that's men and women's, by the way. That's both sides. So I think it's a really, really good appointment to upgrade him. I really do.
Kev, tying down Mikel Arteta on his contract just a few months ago, tying down Edu, who is definitely being looked at by a number of clubs, including two big ones in Europe, which weren't revealed, but Fabrizio Romano alluded to that as well. The good roadmap we've talked about, the blueprint for Arsenal 2.0, this is a good indication that these two are willing to stick it out for the long haul, which has been so important to us, though, to have long haul people in charge who know what they're doing, more importantly than have the people who've made poor decisions and who have come before them and the mess that they've had to clean up. Is this a great sign that the two of them are just getting started?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's, when you consider what they've done and where we are right now, I mean, let's be honest, nobody could see where we would be right now. We're hoping that we'll have a really good start to the season, but we're 5 points clear at the World Cup break. That's amazing. Yeah, there are still things to do, Sophie. 100%. We are not the finished article, and that's the other beautiful thing. We are putting the trust in these guys' hands who have got us to this point. And you know what? One thing about Mikel Arteta and Edu, they're not going to settle for being second best, Soph. They want to win. They want to make the club. They want to put the club back at the top and back challenging year in, year out. They understand what is needed. And a lot of the time at the beginning, they didn't get people didn't get it because we had a novice manager, remember? We had a guy who's a novice who's doing the recruitment, etc. But again, time proves the people. Mikel Arteta was coach. He got upgraded to manager. Edu was head of recruitment or whatever he is. Now he's sporting director. They've earned it.
Kev, do you think that they'll further earn the fans' respect? Probably, would you say that the hardest job for Edu since joining Arsenal is going to be finding a way to secure this young man, William Saliba, this young man, Gabriel Martinelli, and of course, Bukayo Saka, who is shining already for England on the world stage. Is that his toughest job now, Kev? Now he's secured his own future?
No.
Losing any one of these three players would be a disaster for the club.
It would be, but unfortunately, that's sometimes out of our hands. It's out of his hands. You've got to try and secure them. Of course you do. But ultimately, Sophie, it's up to the player. Ultimately, if the player wants to leave, there's nothing you can do because the player's not going to sign. The great thing that these two have done, they've created the environment. You can look on a match day, you could see Saliba is fully involved. Martinelli's fully involved. Saka's fully involved. All of these guys have bought into to the group and the culture. So that's all you can do. You let that culture take care of itself. And then when it comes to contract, obviously the numbers have to be right. The length of contract has to be right. All of the I's dotted and the T's crossed, etc. And then it gets put to them. And if it's agreeable, great. If it's not for them, again, it's not going to be because of Mikel Arteta or Edu. That's for sure. It's because they're thinking of moving somewhere else. But I don't think they're in the position that they're going to mess anything up. I truly believe keeping this squad together is the key. And if it comes down to money, you pay it. It's that simple. You pay it.
Yeah. I do think they'll be judged on. There's big moments for players, but there's also big moments for executives. And, you know, we credited Arteta in the end for how he handled Saliba, credited Edu for the Brazilian, you know, inspiration he's brought in finding players even before Arteta arrived, but Arteta also identifying players that maybe Edu wanted, that in the end his choices, you know, were better. Emerson Royale being that one player that springs to mind, Kev. So they will be judged on the contracts of those three players. Totally hear what you're saying. It's going to be the finer details, the dotting of the I's, the crossing of the T's, image rights, you know, other things that come into contract negotiations that could, you know, scupper this, and also the desire to play for a particular team. William Saliba, you know, the rumors are always brewing. Well, it's PSG. Real Madrid is that team for a lot of players. Bukayo Saka, I believe Arsenal is the team for him. But Champions League, Kev, is going to be what defines these decisions. Is it possible, where their contracts are based right now, that they could drag this out to the end of the season to see whether or not we qualify for Champions League football? And I'm not trying to be cute or cheeky about whether or not we'll finish top four. You just don't know what's going to happen in football, Kev.
Of course,
and players want assurances.
Oh, but there's it can take us. It can take another 8 months. So it can. These negotiations, because of the World Cup as well, you know, then you start the second half of the season, and players want to just get their head down. You let the agent start doing the negotiating and talking and stuff, and as the player, you just want to concentrate on your football. What an opportunity Arsenal have got right now in the second half of the season. If they can get it together, keep improving, because that's the other thing that a lot of people don't say, and I don't want it to be another. I don't want to answer a question on maybe what's another one of your questions down the road, but there is so much room for growth with this group, so that, of course, keeping it together is the ultimate. That's what we want, keeping it together. So can a player wait? Of course he can. Player can wait.
Okay. So we've talked about Edu being promoted, how he and Arteta will be viewed with regards to transfers. Kev, let me expand that question a little bit and build on what you've been saying here too. Will January make or break how people feel again regarding the owners who have gone without too much criticism? You and I kind of defended them for a little bit there, but also you've said many times on this show, winning cures all. And we have been winning, and we're top of the league. And so some of those, you know, mosquito bite type itches kind of go away with a little bit of cream every now and again, don't they, Kev? And you've said about how January last season cost us. We had that conversation together prior to the window, saying we've got to pick up on this opportunity. If we don't pick up on this opportunity again in January this year, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Who will the fans be pointing the finger at? How do you see that unfolding if that were to happen?
The owners. The fans would be looking at the owners, 100%. 100%. Look, we've got ourselves in a position now, Sophie, where the fan base They're happy because we've been winning games. We're top of the league. You know, that feeling is great. But this fan base isn't stupid. This fan base knows we're going to get challenged big time in the second half of the season. And there's an FA Cup. Look, there's an FA Cup. There's the Europa League. And there's the league to go for. There's 3 trophies to go for. So high potency games. We're going to have to be at it, and we're going to need a squad. Our squad is still a little bit thin. And I think this is where the fan base want to see the owners go bang. There you go. And Sophie, can it go pear-shaped? Of course it can go pear-shaped after that. But what the fan base want to know is it's not down to the owners not moving. That's what they want, I feel. And that's the way I feel. I don't want it to be the owner. I want the owners to say, there you go. You can get 2 free players. You bring in 2 free players, and let's say it happens. What a masterstroke, right? If it doesn't happen and you bring in a couple of players, top 4, you're still going to be in and around that top 4, Soph. You are still going to be in and around that top 4. But now you've got a stronger squad moving forward. But if you don't make the move, and then you go through a difficult patch where there's key injuries to key players, that's what happened to us last year. And it just didn't quite work out in the end. We can't let that happen again. We cannot let that happen again. And certain players that we like are still there. That's the other thing, Soph. It's not like we're trying to get a Vlahovic from out of Italy when we know a Juventus is interested as well. There's players here who we know we want and we can get. We just got to put the money on the table.
Yeah, it seems to me, well summarized, Kev, it seems to me that this will be less forgiving of fans than even last January if we don't go in and reinforce the squad, especially based on the fact that 3 major injuries caused us a lot of damage towards the end of last season. But as you and I have talked about a lot, 38 games makes a season. It doesn't start in May, doesn't start in January or December. It starts in August, and you've got to be ready to go from that point. And then in January, you're given an opportunity to make those reinforcements. I just think the fan base will be less forgiving this time around, Kev, to let an even better opportunity, because now you're talking about you could become Premier League champions if you invest in 3 players, or you could qualify for the Champions League. But to do both in the same season would be insane, and we
Sophie,
can't let that opportunity pass us by.
Sophie, do you know something? The least we expect is to qualify for the Champions League. That's the least. We've got to put all the chips in the middle of the table, Soph, and go for it. That's what we've got to do. Like I said before, the scope and growth of this team is still there. It's still there. There's massive room for growth. But we have to strengthen, because we've got to be ready on 3 fronts. And yeah, there might be players who don't even get changed. So what? Do you reckon some Man City boys don't get changed? That's life. And we've been better than them at this stage of the season by 5 points. Let's get the right people in to strengthen our squad so we can last the distance, and then we'll see.
Okay, so you brought up Vlahovic, and there seems to be another transfer story that is brewing that reminds me of Usam Aouar. It reminds me of Vlahovic, and maybe even a little of Rafinha Superkev from the summer. Do you feel like the pursuit of Mudryk is reminiscent of those, or do you feel this one has all the potential to come to fruition?
I'm not too sure. I think he's he's very gifted young man, very talented. He's definitely someone who could add to what we've got. Um, Seems like he's interested. Seems like Zinchenko's done a good talking job with him. If I'm honest, it looks that way. But ultimately, Sophie, it's going to come down to the money. You know, I think Mudrik's already come out and said when the official from Shakhtar mentioned, I think it was 100 million euro. Mudrik came out and said, "What? That was. Come on, it's not happening." So obviously he's showing that, don't price me out. Don't price me
Yes.
out. The key for us is, very rarely players like him become available in January. So if we are going to do the business, there's going to have to be the big checkbook. The one that's
Yeah.
about that size.
Yes.
Not the little one, the big one. The big checkbook has to come out.
Like
and
the
we've
old
got to sign-
charity big checks that
there
used to
you
come
go.
out back in the days.
We got to sign the big checks, Soph, the big checks, and hand it over. Because if we're going to get a player like him, there's a lot of games, and what we don't want, Martinelli, youngster that he is, he's going to be just coming back from a World Cup. We're going to have to be able to rotate. Saka coming back from a World Cup. We're going to have to be able to rotate our squad. But we're going to have to do like for like. People who have got, Saka's on the bench, could come on for 20 minutes. We got somebody on there who can really do the business. Martinelli's on the bench. We got people out there, and we don't miss a beat. We don't skip a beat. We are as dangerous, or even more so dangerous, as a forward line. So that's what we need. We seriously need it.
That really is the goal to building a team, but evolving a team. You've got to evolve for the better, right? And you can see, which is why I think the accountability and responsibility of an Edu and of an Arteta is important, Kev, because when you look at Ramsdale, you look at Benjamin White, you look at Tomiyasu, that's really good shopping in the transfer market, like exceptionally good. That, we've put stuff in our shopping basket before and they should never have made it all the way to the checkout. Yeah, and we've made those mistakes, but it feels like the way we're identifying the DNA and the profile of that player is completely different. And what you're saying, I think, is the icing on the cake in terms of building a competitive team, a consistent team, but a team that really can challenge year in, year out, Kev, in the Premier League. And you only do that by having competition between. Now, I'm not saying Tierney's the answer, but Tierney and Zinchenko. Having competition with Tomiyasu and Benjamin White, or Benjamin White and Gabriel and Saliba, having more competition in the midfield area. Who's going to challenge and keep pushing Xhaka or Thomas Partey? Right now, I don't think we have that with Gabriel Jesus. We don't have it with the attacking winger positions either, Kev. So you're 100% right. Do you think these players have been identified, again, the way we prepare, and you've seen how Edu and Arteta work? Do you think they know who they want, and we're in a similar situation like we were?
I do, Soph. I think they're very, very stringent in how they recruit, what they look at. They find out the background of the players, because if you notice, the players who have come in have all just slotted into the dressing room perfectly. Oh, just slotted in nicely. No hullabaloo in the dressing room. Everybody's all going in one direction. So I think that's really, really important. Looking at the way these two operate, I think they already know what they want. I think they already know what they want. And would it surprise? Here's the other thing, which might rub people up the wrong way a little bit. I think they're that set on who they want that they will not, if the player that they want is not available, they will not go and sign an alternative for now. They will wait. They will wait. And sometimes that gets us as a fans, it gets us frustrated because we want bodies. But they are not going to compromise on not bringing the right person in. They're not going to do it. As proven last January. They're just not going to bring a body in for the sake of it. And yeah, we messed up at the end, etc. And could it have been better? Yeah, of course it could have been better. But it's just proven. They wanted Zinchenko and Jesus. That's who they wanted.
And you're talking about the end of the summer transfer window, the Aston Villa player not being held to ransom, and once that deal was dead, did not pursue anything at the 11th hour. They're out of there. And I think one of the things Arsenal fans wanted us to stop being was a panic buying club, Kev.
Yeah.
And I believe that we have been that since the last summer transfer window. Maybe even the January.
I think you're right. And so I think you're right. And as you quite rightly said, sometimes it's to the detriment of the goal, which was like January. Our goal was top 4, get back into the Champions League. It didn't happen. It didn't happen because we faltered at the end. And we could easily say, yeah, it's because of we didn't invest in the squad. But as they're proving, they would rather wait to get the right player, because when the right player comes in, look at the difference they make.
Okay, super, Kev. Speaking of right player, and someone just put in, Kev, you're forgetting Emile Smith Rowe. No, he's not, because Kev and I have been talking about Emile Smith Rowe over WhatsApp as well. And we were talking about this picture, and Stuart McFarlane here has caught before our very eyes how a young man has blossomed into a man. Talk about hitting the weights. Maybe, Kev, you can take us beyond the white lines and into that rehab center when you are coming back from an injury. It humbles you. A couple of injuries can super humble a player. Emile Smith Rowe seems like he's working hard. When he comes back, he's going to be like having a new signing. It's a cliche for a reason. But going to be integral here, isn't he, Kev, in the second half of the season?
Well, we're going to need him. We're going to need Emile Smith Rowe to be strong, powerful, electric, and to be the star that he is. We won't have time to be trying to nurture him back. Because when he gets his chance, he's going to have to perform, Soph. And I know he's been out a long time, but you see in the standard, since he's been out, the standard of the club has gone from here to there. We're now top of the league without him involved. So we're gonna really need him to come back. I know he's gonna be out in Dubai and he's gonna do the warm weather training with the squad and all that. But when he gets his opportunities, when he plays, so he's gonna have to play up. He's gonna have to play well, because we're top of the league, Soph. And one injury might allow him to come back in. And if you're not up to scratch, Soph, you're top of the league. If you're not up to scratch, you're going to have to be changed.
Do you think he has a higher ceiling than we've seen, Kev?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think he's been going on probably 60%. I think he's been going on 60%. Good to see him in the gym. He looks stronger. Obviously, you work, you do your bodies, and you do you pump some weights, etc. So hopefully he's a lot stronger out there on the pitch as well. But ultimately, we need him to be performing. And
yes,
we need him doing his job, Soph. Because when you look at our squad right now, the reason why we're top is everybody's done their job.
Yeah. And we've been lucky with injuries. You know, of course, a couple, Tomiyasu having to deputize with Zinchenko being out. But the fact that we've got those players who can plug in, you and I are always saying we just need a few more of those to plug in, because look where you can be then. And we're doing it in a fashion, Kev, that is quite impressive and fun to watch. A shout out to Miss Melina, who is in the house. We are so happy that you are better, young lady. Thank you so much for joining the show. You had a lot of love from everybody here on the Highbury Squad.
Well
and it's
done.
good to
Well
see
done.
your name flash up Right, Super Kev? Just
Of
great
course.
stuff.
Oh, health is wealth, Miss Melina. Good to see you. You're fighting fit, my dear.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about Adu's promotion, the transfer window in January, who'll be most culpable, ownership, the gaffer, the new sporting director. We've talked about Mudrick. I'm sure I'm going to be corrected a million times in terms of how I'm pronouncing his name. One more here for Super Kev before we get to our 5 predictions. So, Kev, there's been a long-awaited work to be done on the outside of the Emirates. These are pictures that Tony Woods on Twitter you can find took. This is when that whole section came down. No doubt it needs a paint job, a major one too. A long time in the waiting. There's been talk, of course, of 8 pieces of art and them involving fans, of course, current players, the history. What would you like to see, Kev, on the outside of the Arsenal? For me, as a Generation Xer, I think history is really important. I would love to see some type of history flag being flown. Someone from the club talked about who we are, who we represent, and I'm like, is that a little clue, Kev? Are they giving us a little clue as to
Maybe,
what to come?
maybe. I think when you look at what was there previously, I think it was nice. It was great, but a lot of it doesn't capture the club. In a sense, Highbury's just down the road, and there's no real connection to Highbury unless you know the numbers on the shirts. You know, if you've never been to Highbury, there's no connection with Highbury at the Emirates, for instance. So if we're going to go down memory lane, there should be pieces that take you down memory lane. So as you walk around the ground, you could see, oh, that was that era, and that was then, and this is that, and that. You know, so you can get the history of the club as you go around. That's what I think, anyway. As long as Martin, as long as Newman's art's not up there, I'm happy.
Yeah, a lot of people agreeing. Put Arsenal through the ages on the wall. Both Wenger and Herbert Chapman need to be on it. As does would George Graham ever be put on the wall, Kev?
Well, I think he should. What?
Why not? Right?
George Graham was a great Arsenal manager.
He was, only because, you know, of how he left and going to Tottenham. But I don't think that changes what the legacy he left at the club and the change he made.
Yeah, can't stop the history.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Do you want it to be old school, or do you think electronic as well, to have some type
It won't
of
be electronic. It's too expensive.
He's going to run the bill.
the bill electronic. I think the artwork is enough. Yeah, I think the artwork is enough. And do you know what, Sophie? They're fantastic pieces. I think getting that, because it's the lifeblood of the football club over the years. I think it's that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, don't forget, you guys, you can see a lot of our local artists on our Talented Gooners series, part of our playlist on the channel. Go check it out. Llewellyn, Dell Llewellyn was our last guest, and his work's absolutely amazing. So go check it out. Episode 2 coming soon to a YouTube channel playlist near you. Super Kev, I like doing this segment with you, where we go in chunks. We pick our next 5 games, knowing what we know today, not knowing who can come back from the World Cup injured, who we may buy in January. Sophie and Kev stick their necks out and looking to their crystal footballs all the time, and they're going to give you what they think is going to be the result, and also whether it's a point or 3 points.
Soph, I've got a really good record. And remember, Newman called me crazy. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, he called me crazy. Newman's a bit quiet now, isn't he, eh? Newman. Stick to rugby, Newman.
Yeah. or something, Kev. I don't quite know what it is.
It
Not
must
usually
got to be
lost for
rugby because it
words.
ain't football. That's for sure.
No, it hasn't. But there are some people asking for your art to be shown outside the Emirates. I'm not sure
At the
exactly
calf.
why.
Show it at the calf.
I think they've gone completely and utterly crazy. Right. 200 of you in live chat. Hit that like button, kiss it, like it. Oh, we've got a new piece of merch coming for the store. Don't forget, use code Vinny and get 20% off our store. It's under the swag button in the description, and it's linked as well at the bottom of the description. And Super Kev, as everyone knows, what we sell goes to Gooners v Cancer and money to our artists. So please go support that. We've got a Vinny t-shirt coming soon, and it's really epic. Right, Kev, you do have a really good record. It's a lot better than mine. You've been called deluded. You've been called the lawyer Esquire. All of the names. How dare they? Such an icon.
No, let them, because you know what, Soph? I don't mind them saying all, I've had it all my life. Tell me I can't do this and tell me how bad I am. Tell me how wrong. And they eat humble pie. I like it.
Slice of humble pie, baking away. Right. Here we go. We have got some tough fixtures, people. I'm telling you, December and January, no bueno.
Tough, very tough.
Kev, Arsenal versus West Ham on Boxing Day. It will be the first return fixture at home to the Hammers, who, let's face it, have not had a good season so far.
No, they haven't. They haven't. And we're at the Emirates, and for us, it's got to be 3 points. So it's that simple. We've got to hit the ground running. Listen, we've just got to make sure we win that game. It's going to be difficult, obviously, because everyone's just going to resume again. But you know what we're looking at, Sophie. We're looking at building a title challenge here. We're top of the league, so we've got to at London Derby. We've got to take out our rival, and I see it as 3 points.
3 points, says Stephen Foot as well. Stephen, we hope you're doing well.
Yep.
Always good to see your name come up, Stephen. Adore you. Win against West Ham. We're going to win against the Hammers. West Ham win. Win for us. Kev needs a statue. Maybe we'll.
No, we've got a coin. We've got a coin. It's all right. The Highbury Squad coin, that'll do.
Who's going to be the lucky winner?
There you go.
So let's see. Kev, what's your 3 points? I'm going for 3 points, and I'm going for a 3-1 win.
I'm going to go 2-0.
Okay, so we got 2.
Oh,
3,
I
1.
didn't know we had to do this on these. It's not right, is it?
What's that?
Doing the score.
Well, no, I just thought I'd throw one in there.
Well, there you go. See the score on it. 3 points.
Brighton versus Arsenal, Kev. This is away.
Now, let me tell you something. This is as tough a game as we're going to get. This really is. But this isn't the second squad. This is going to be the top squad. And we've seen them get exposed at times. And again, this is one that we have to go on. Sophie, we have to go and win. We have to hit the ground running second half of the season like we did the first half, part of the season. That's what we've got to do. And if this could be a potential banana skin for us, I'm going to admit that. But Sophie, you know me, I like my 3 points. So I like my 3 points. And I'm going for Arsenal to win this game and get 3 points away to Brighton.
Okay, I'm going to go for a draw here.
Mm-hmm.
Something about them away. Last season, I hope that we can, put some of those old memories to bed. That was a horrible game, even though that game was at home as well, Kev. So, yeah, I'm going to go for a draw against Brighton away. Bit of a tricky game, and as you said, had banana skin written all over it.
Big time, yeah.
Okay, so Arsenal versus Newcastle, Kev.
Newcastle home. Is it home or away?
This is home.
Yeah, we got to take them out. We got to beat them. Away from home. Listen, I'll be honest. That is a tough. That's probably one of the toughest games of the season. Away from home up there, but at home, I got to fancy our chances at home for sure. Tight game, but we win. Miss Belina, I think you're right. 2-1. I think we win the game. Tough game, but we win the game.
Yeah, I'm going to go for 3 points here as well. And I think that this is the game, where we remind Newcastle a little bit about where they came from, Kev.
Yeah.
I think everyone's getting excited and
we owe them, Soph.
Yeah,
After what they done to us up there last season, we owe them.
I definitely owe them. Okay, so we got Arsenal, West Ham, both going for 3 points. Brighton v Arsenal, Kev going for 3. I'm going for 1. Arsenal, Newcastle, we are both going for 3. It doesn't get much easier as the January rolls in. Winter is coming, people. It's Tottenham versus Arsenal, Kev.
Oh, God. Spurs. Ugh.
At theirs.
Listen, they've been beaten by some decent teams. But they seem to have a little sign over us at their gaff. But we're a different team now, Soph.
Don't leave me this way.
Soph, do you know what I'm going to do?
Oh, I know what you're going to do.
I'm going to go for 3 points because you know what? We're top of the league. They don't scare me one bit, Spurs. They don't scare me at all. I think we're a lot better team than we were last season. I fancy us. Definitely fancy us. 3 points.
So
at their place.
That would be a real good shift in history. We know how these usually go. We win, unless it was Thierry Henry's Arsenal. But we won the league there twice. We've got great memories there. It's an amazing place for us to go. But recently, it's just not been a great place for us to go. And I just feel like this one will go with the home team again. Now, I'm not going to go for the loss because I just can't bring myself to do that. But I'm going to say we'll go one better than we did last season and walk away with a point this time.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I wouldn't argue with that, Soph, because it can go against us. It definitely can. But you know me, I'm positive on this. I believe in this team. I believe in what this team are doing. And I want 3 points at their place. I really do, Soph.
It would be so fantastic. I mean, really, beating them any day of the week, but getting 3 points in their own backyard, which has been their shiny new trophy. Let's be honest. They haven't put any trophies in the cabinet. The new stadium has become the trophy. So let's hope we can get a result. Doesn't get much easier, Kev, as the January just kicks in another gear. It's the Arsenal versus Manchester United.
This is a home win for sure. Home win. We're going to take them out. We should have taken them out up here. We didn't. They came and listen, they finished us off because their finishing was better than ours. But at the Emirates, now we're going to take them out, Soph. We're taking them out 3 points. That's 15 points, 5 wins. Definitely.
We're gonna win the league. Look at he's got all these.
Oi, come on, let's go. Look, there's a couple here that could go pear-shaped. I get it, but I'm going for 15 points.
I love it. And look, who are we to question this man who has been saying this since the start of the season? Now, I hear some of you going to be like, yeah, but Soph, Kev's always positive. But this is strategic positiveness, I believe, from Kev. He's not just throwing pie to the sky. Is that a saying? I mean, the Tottenham one, maybe. That's a stretch for us to believe. But I actually truly believe that if you sit down and think about it, he believes that we will beat them. He does. Just saying.
Hold on a minute. Look at the teams that have beaten Spurs. Leeds should have beaten them the last time out. Leeds scored 3 goals at their place. Come on.
I say we go get revenge, Kev, like
Come
Game
on.
of Thrones style. We
Go and
just
smash them up.
Yeah.
We go and
We
smash
got
them up at
we
their
got to
gaff.
do yeah. Let's make them cry. Let's make them realize their season will end with the usual brucking. You know what I mean?
Brock it up, Kip. Brock it up.
And then, you know, we could do this and then just walk out.
And then
Boom.
just woof off with the head, Soph. That's it.
And then Vinny can just give everyone a round of applause.
Yeah.
For...
Just pat him on the head, Vin. Yeah.
Kev, I say that we send the Magpies packing too, and I think it's going to be a big ass suitcase that we pack them home in. I'm going to go for a 4-1. Another team that needs to be brought down a little. Manchester United. Yeah, they need a bit of humbling. We should have beaten them at Old Trafford. We didn't. We let our naivety get the best of us. They had 3 chances and they buried theirs. We didn't bury ours. What a points make.
Prizes and title challenge.
Yes.
We're trying to build a title challenge. At our place, we've got to take teams out. So it doesn't matter who comes to our gaff. We've got to beat them at our place. Simple as that.
Totally. Right, you guys. Nice and sharp, get in, get out kind of show tonight. It's the 5 on 5. We gave you the top 5 talking points. We talked about Adu. We talked about the transfer window and culpability. We talked about Mudryk. Now, someone has already corrected me in chat who is Ukrainian, and I probably didn't even get it right that time either, Super Kev. We've talked about the exterior of the stadium, a long time coming. It's going to be nice to see the paint job and what folks do with that as well. And I think, you know, we've covered all the bases. We gave you our top 5, our next 5 picks for the Arsenal's schedule. We have got some super tough games. I mean, we've got to play West Ham, we've got to play Brighton, we've got to play Newcastle, Tottenham, and Manchester United. That is not easy. But Super Kev, the score prediction visionary that he is this season, sees maximum points. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know in the YouTube comments. Let us know. Send us an email. We will read it all to Kev on the next show. Let us know what your score predictions are as you look into your crystal football, Kev. Here we go. Here's the pronunciation. Let's see if you guys can do it with me. Hold on, Kev. Because it's got 4. Okay. Terence is Ukrainian. Murder the rich. Murder the rich. I mean, if I was on a game show right now, I'd be saying, murder the rich. Murder the rich. Just hit the likes like Gooner Rose says.
How many likes we got? Never mind all that. Murder the rich.
I'm sure many people will be listening on replay. 200 plus in live chat. Let us know how many likes we have, Chief Like Officer Tammy. We will look into our mailing division as to why you have not received your coin yet, but you will be patient. It all comes in a lovely box. It's hand delivered. It's just beautiful. Miss Melina will be visiting with us on the show in the next couple of weeks. She had already accepted her invitation to appear on Talented Gooners. So here, as she is in the chat, we're calling her out and saying we can't wait to talk to you when you are feeling a lot better. So that's pretty cool. Don't forget that you can also get your Zenith coin, 30% off during the show, 90 minutes after plus 3 minutes added on, HS30. I'll give you 5 minutes if you want to ask Super Kev anything before we go. Super Kev, do you have anything you'd like to add for the troops before we depart?
Well, just like I said at the start, if anybody gets a chance to send Alan Smith a happy birthday on Twitter, please do. Wish him well, a birthday. And you know what? At this stage of the year, the World Cup's just begun. Just doesn't have the same feel, does it? It doesn't have the same feel for me, the World Cup. But whatever happens, keep loving your family. Tell the people that matter that they matter. Keep being positive, please. Very important, squaddies. Very well said. Well said, Newman.
Oh God,
Happy
did
birthday,
I just?
Alan Smith. Well said.
Oh, he
Newman.
said something nice. That's.
Yeah.
I do have a new piece of art which I didn't upload, which you guys will be thankful for, but I will show it to you at some point. Another attempt from Newman to get a coin. This time he's drawn Sue Barker. I may just share it on Twitter just so the whole world can see it. Right, that is all we've got time for. I'll be back tomorrow live with Tom Canton. We'll be doing a dive.
By the way, happy birthday to Tom Canton as well. It's his birthday today.
No, how did I miss that?
Yes, it is. It's same day as Smudger. Yeah.
Wow, happy birthday, Tom Canton, one of the nicest fellas in football.
Yeah, happy birthday to Tom.
Happy birthday, Tom. So tomorrow night, Boxing Day birthday with Soph and Tom. How about that? We're going to dive into a few subjects with Tom. You're not going to want to miss that. And I'll also share my reasons as to why I made the decision not to go to Qatar. So we'll talk about that tomorrow night with Tom Canton. In the meantime, Super Kev and Campbell, take out the troops.
Listen, squaddies, like I said, make sure you tell your loved ones you love them. Keep coming and seeing us at the Highbury Squad. We appreciate you. We love you. And make sure you take good care. Sophie, hostess with the mostest, thank you so much for laying on such a fantastic show of Monday Madness. And you squaddies for joining us. Enjoy your day, your evening, and your night. At ease, squaddies. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.